In a top-secret location, Australia's largest indoor cannabis farm is set to supply the booming demand for medical marijuana. The company behind it is forecasting $100 million in turnover as the once taboo drug gains popularity for pain relief.
Forget the gold rush, this is the green rush.
And this will actually be the largest vertical indoor cannabis farm in Australia.
Craig Cochrane is CEO of MedCan Australia, one of dozens of new medicinal cannabis companies popping up across Australia, but with bigger plans than most.
How much product are you going to be able to make once this is fully operational?
Once a full site's fully operational, up to 6 tonnes of dried flower per annum.
The Brisbane-based company isn't willing to reveal the location of its new $10 million facility due to security concerns. It's now part of a rapidly growing industry many Australians may never have imagined would exist.
It's been prohibited for 100 years. It's been somewhat taboo. So for it now to all of a sudden become legal, there is that stigma. So it's about breaking down those barriers around that stigma.
Today we're being taken on a tour behind the scenes.
Welcome to MedCan Australia.
Wonderful.
Lab coats and hairnets are all part of the precautions to ensure their precious plants are not contaminated. Nate Jones is the head of cultivation, brought in from Canada, where a legal cannabis industry started several years before Australia.
So what's this room, Nate?
So this is our flower room.
Inside is a full hydroponic setup on a scale that would previously have had the drug squad ready to raid.
It's a lot different to someone's backyard operation, I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we utilize state-of-the-art technology.
Here they control every element of the plant's growth, in particular the light. Just the right amount is needed to signal when it's time to grow a flower, where the most potent part of the drug comes from.
The reason we grow indoors is really to control the environmental conditions, to control all the inputs that plants have, from light to water to CO2 to nutrients.
With the light, the temperature, humidity and the irrigation all under control, it doesn't matter whether a plant's on the top deck or the bottom deck, they're all being grown under identical conditions.
That allows us to have a final product throughout the year that doesn't have any seasonal changes from the outside environment.
What are some of the problems that you face with cannabis if it's grown outdoors?
So cannabis flower is very sensitive to high humidity, and if you aren't able to really provide a low humidity room, you will have some mold in your flowers.
The flowers, or buds, are where the bucks are made. That's the part of the plant that's now being turned into a variety of medical products, from oils to capsules and dried flowers too. There's an additional layer of security where those are stored inside this huge vault. The industry has become so advanced they now grow specific types of cannabis in an attempt to treat different ailments.
It's one of the most ancient drugs that we have, but we're using it in an entirely new way. And like any medication, it needs to be properly evaluated.
Dr. Bruce Willett is Vice President of the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners.
There's a bit of hype around it that people think that it will solve all of their problems. And while it is and can be a really useful medication, it's not a panacea, it's not the thing that's going to treat everything.
The Therapeutic Goods Administration has now approved more than 260,000 medicinal cannabis prescriptions for Australians. The most common reasons listed by patients are chronic pain, anxiety and sleep disorders.
Used appropriately in the right conditions for the right people, it's a great medication, but it's certainly not for everyone, and it certainly needs to be used in its proper place.
With prescriptions exploding in the past 2 years, companies like MedCan are scaling up their plans, expecting to have a workforce of 100 employees once the new facility comes online.
What's the career path to becoming a professional cannabis grower?
By trade, I'm a biologist, and coming out of university in Canada, legalization had just opened up. So it was a really big career opening for young plant scientists.
If you're interested in finding work, it's a love of plants, not a love of marijuana, that will get you a job.
Yeah, we do get some interesting applications. When we're looking at hiring people, in Australia, there hasn't been a legal industry until recently. So when we're talking about skill sets, if we're looking for a skill set that you can put on a resume, it is quite hard to find.